Welcome to the Finding Your Church podcast from findingyourchurch.com. My name is Jeremy Phillips, and my goal is to help you make it a challenge for people to live in your community without finding your church. Now, I want to talk about how you can get a free church website security scan. And, it's a horrible feeling to go to Google or your Chrome or Firefox or whatever you do and type in your church website address and see absolutely nothing. Or worse, to see that it has been replaced by hackers with something that does not promote the message of your church. Now, the problem is that a full-blown hack is not the only thing you should be concerned about when it comes to your church website security. Your church site may even already be hacked and you don't even know it. You may have no idea. That's why a free church website security scan can be very useful. Now, why would a hacker want to take control of your church website? You wouldn't think that a hacker would have any desire to gain access to your church website. Even if you have a large church, why would they want to hack into it? But if that's what you think, you'd be wrong, because they do want access to your church website. My church website hosting company, they explain that some hacking strategies involve gaining back-end control of hundreds or thousands of small websites so that they can attack larger targets without getting found out. And so when they launch their larger attacks, they can send them through these sites instead of their own. And they can even create systems to bounce between sites so that they can cover their tracks, as far as I understand. So your church website is at risk, no matter how small your church is. Even if you don't think it's a target, it is. And so, here's just a couple of quick examples of church websites that I've been involved in that have gotten hacked, because it can happen to anybody unless you're protected. So, I created a WordPress-based website for a small church, and at this particular church, the pastors didn't really check the site that often, because it was pretty much just information only, so they didn't view it themselves that much. And so I randomly checked it at one point, and the entire site had been replaced with an image of a Turkish flag and a song that automatically played when you accessed the site. And it said that it had been taken over by Turkish militants. Now, I have no idea if the site had really been taken over by Turkish militants, but I can assure you this was not the message that they were attempting to convey with their church to their church website visitors. In a similar situation, I created a site several years ago for a church, and I randomly visited the site, and there was a small text ad in the top left corner for Viagra. Now, I'm all for church growth, but hey, again, that's not the message that they wanted people to see. So, and the third example is in my last church staff position, part of my responsibility was the website. And so I installed a WordPress plugin on my site that would alert me if someone or something tried to log in to my site too many times. And so when that happens, it's usually a program or some sort of software trying to crack the password and break into your site when I was getting these responses. So I began receiving these email notification alerts every few minutes stating that something was trying to break into my church WordPress site. And so I received these emails for a couple of days when I contacted my website hosting support to see if there's anything they could do to stop it. And they just said that I had to write it out and just change the password. So I changed the password to a random string of 20 characters. And after 3 or 4 days, the email notifications tapered off, and I survived that time without getting hacked. But in all 3 cases, I was able to fix the issues, but it can be extremely challenging. So how can you protect your church website from getting hacked? Your first step is to see if it has been infected with malicious code already. So if so, you need to act now to correct the problem. So even though the hackers may keep it a secret that they've hacked into your website and just work in the back side of your website, they still do have control. And at any moment, they could try to hide their tracks or do something extremely damaging to your site. And so this damaging could be irreversible, especially if you don't have a backup. So the first step is to get a free church website security scan that shows how secure your site is right now. And so you can do that at a security site check, and it's a great place to start, and that link is in the show notes in the blog post for this episode. So you get that security scan. Then what if you find out that your site has been hacked? Well, there are a couple of solutions that you can do. One is specifically for WordPress church websites, and that is also in the link in the show notes. And that you can access that there, but it's specifically for WordPress, and they also offer great backup solutions. Basically, their comment is, imagine never having another WordPress headache, and that's a great thing, great peace of mind. So they help you get a bug-free site. They offer to do free small jobs for you for your website if you have some small things that you've been wanting to get done, and basically add site security. So if your church has not been created with WordPress or a website builder like ShareFaith or something like that handles these things for you, then you might need another solution called SiteLock, and that link is also in the show notes. So I just encourage you to go to the link that's in the show notes for Securi and get your website scanned so that you can see if you have been hacked, and if you have been hacked or you haven't been hacked. You need to provide security for your website because it is a nightmare if you do get hacked. So I want you to go check that out. Also, check out our resource page for all of different links that we talk about in the podcast, as well as some other links that could help your church. And that's at findingyourchurch.com/toolbox.